Hello and welcome to Confidently Wrong, a show by regular dudes talking with confidence about content they have no right to speak about with any kind of authority, but do it anyway. I'm Wesley Nakamura and I'm joined by Mike Smith, Brian Redondo, and Savon Jones, aka Captain Vonnie. This is episode 14, and on today's show, we talk about some recently released movie trailers that we are excited and some not so excited for, and we break down WandaVision episodes 6 and 7. I'm confident that it's going to be the best show you've ever listened to, and if not, well, hey, you can always ask for a refund.
Are you still trying to get one, Brian?
No.
That ship set. He made peace with that.
There's literally like
I'm gonna
no
get
games.
it when I can just walk into a Target, no problem, and just
like make
pick it up with
effort.
my own hands.
Yeah, there's like literally no games with the PS5. Like
Yeah.
it's literally just like if you game a lot, like it's worth it because like the loading times and shit like that. But like there's literally no games.
The party chat is also way faster.
Yeah, I mean everything's faster, clipping's faster, but like if you're just playing single player games, there's almost like no reason to get it at this point.
Yeah, the clipping alone has made the PS5 worth it. Just because, oh my god.
And
You
joining
just sent all-
and joining parties used to take literally 5 minutes.
but yeah,
I'm just gonna
long.
wait till Horizon Zero West.
yeah, Mike's still waiting on Cyberpunk.
So we're gonna try and be remotely professional on this one and not just,
we are?
talk forever. No, or we can just talk forever. But we're gonna start with movie trailers. So and along the lines of being professional, for those of you listening at home, Wesley has made a really great chart for all of us to kind of fill in, so we can share our ideas. Except it is going over a page line, which is just an absolute disaster.
It's really hard to watch or to understand it when it's over the page line.
All right, so Wesley, take it away. I don't really know your vision here for how you want to talk about these.
All right, so a bunch of movie trailers got released, and an announcement that I wanted to make sure we mentioned. Pedro Pascal and Bella Ramsey announced as Joel and Ellie for a Last of Us series that's being produced by some people I think that are going to be probably do a fairly decent job. Who's the showrunner here?
I don't know who's actually working on the show, but I do want to talk about the casting.
Oh, here, Chernobyl creator Craig Mazin.
Oh,
Mazin.
really?
Great miniseries.
Yeah, really great miniseries, and it's also really dark and sad, which is like the exact tone of Last of Us.
If you haven't seen Chernobyl on HBO and you're not opposed to like people struggling against dying, go watch it.
We're all struggling against dying, Wesley.
The Last of Us writer and creative director Neil Druckmann are also attached.
First off, Pedro Pascal is just having himself a hell of a year. Like this dude is just literally
he's everywhere.
He's just literally everywhere, and like I feel good. A lot of people were like kind of skeptical on Bella Ramsey, and for those of you who don't know who Bella Ramsey is, she plays in Game of Thrones. What's the character's name?
Lyanna Mormont.
Yeah, she's just
The
like
show stealer.
Yeah, she was. She really, especially at the end, like she was like one of the best characters. So I'm really pumped for that. I'm more skeptical about Pedro Pascal.
So is Olive.
Yeah, so is my dog. Clearly, I don't know. It's just like, can he play like that level of like sad and like angry? I don't know.
And so my thought was, well, he's already played the brooding character as the Mandalorian, and the silent,
brooding
strongman type.
Yeah, brooding, unwilling father, which I guess is also like Joel at his core.
A little bit. Very different than his Wonder Woman character. So
I
we'll
was
see
really,
how that
and
falls
like maybe this is just a product of me like being on Reddit too much, but a lot of people were talking about like Nikolai, I don't know how Kostaj, whatever, the guy that played Jaime Lannister, on Thrones would have made.
They want him to be Joel?
Yeah.
I mean, he looks more like Joel.
He looks like Joel. Like I feel like he might be able to play it a bit more. But I don't know.
We're gonna be professional, Mike. Professional.
Yeah, my dog barking is clearly professional.
The people at home, they want to know your life, Mike. They want to make a connection with you. They can all relate to the dog in the background of the Zoom. I think it's good.
I actually muted my. I actually muted my audio in the recording while I'm asking him to take the dog out. So that is professional.
I don't have strong feelings about the Last of Us and all of this. The only thing I'm not a fan of is I don't like when a series takes two people who are already from another series and puts them in another series together. I think it makes it hard to distract. I guess it's kind of like the thing about Cameron Diaz. It's like, I keep associating the two of them. I can't separate them from this other product they were in. And it feels like it feels like it's almost like it's marketing in like a not genuine way. Like, it's the same way I felt about having like, the dude who played Chris Hemsworth and Tessa Thompson in like that Men in Black movie. Like, all right, y'all just was in a movie together.
Yeah.
Like what are we doing here?
They weren't in anything together though. They're both from two different shows.
They're both from Game of Thrones.
No, they're both from Game of Thrones.
Oh, Pedro Pascal was in Game of Thrones. I forget he gets
so
his head
it's going to be a test to how well they can act.
Yeah.
Now, I think Pedro Pascal's a good actor because I've heard he was super hammy in Wonder Woman. In, Mandalorian, he's super kind of just like brooding and serious. He's super fun and over the top and flamboyant in Game of Thrones. So I think he has range. I think it's going to be about what the script does.
Well, let me give you a good counterexample for that, which is the movie we just talked about, Judas and the Last Messiah, which is essentially a remix of Get Out. Yeah.
Yeah, I saw that.
Lil Rel is in it too. So
the last question of The Last of Us show is like, what time period is it going to take place? And the funny thing is, like, if they were going to do older Last of Us 2, like Gina Carano would have been a perfect Abby, just because like they're both like really like swole, but R.I.P. Gina Carano. The mouse has made her excommunicado.
You out.
Yeah.
So Zack Snyder's Justice League had a trailer. Godzilla vs. Kong, The Falcon and the Winter Soldier had a new trailer. Mortal Kombat released their trailer this week. Raya and the Last Dragon had their trailer come out. A lot of this coincided with the Super Bowl, which Mike doesn't want to talk about.
No.
And then Superman and Lois, the CW show, the famed CW show, released their trailer as well. So first of all, let's just go yes or no. Did the trailer make you want to see the movie? Just no explanation right now. Yes or no. So Justice League, yes or no? Mike?
Yes.
Brian?
Nope.
Savon?
No.
You're not letting me give any context here, which really hurts because I want to hate watch that movie. But
okay,
all right,
we'll get there. We'll
follow
get there.
The rules. I'll follow the rules.
All right. Godzilla versus Kong, Mike?
Yes.
Wait, so on Snyder's Justice League, it was 2-1, right?
Yeah, the show.
Okay,
the show
let's say
does
1
not
to 2.
like the Justice League.
1-2. Okay. Godzilla versus Kong, Mike?
Yes.
Brian?
Yes.
Hell yeah.
Savon?
No.
Oh my god.
No. Okay, so it's
impossible
2 in
to
favor.
Impress.
2 in favor, 1 no. All right. The Falcon and the Winter Soldier. I don't know why I get a kick out of it that it's The Falcon.
Is it the Falcon?
Because they went to the Ohio State University.
Yeah.
Title, baby.
All right, Mike.
Hell yeah.
All right, Brian.
Yeah.
Savon.
Yeah.
Oh my god.
Oh, that's 3 yeses.
Literally
that was a
impossible.
7.5.
Yeah. No, that wasn't a 7.5 is a good score. That was like a 5.
You said yes. I want to see it. I'm excited for it.
All right. A throwback to our childhood, to me and Brian's childhood at least. I think this might predate you guys. I think Mortal Kombat, the
we were
original
like
one was
kids.
96.
We were like little kids. No, the first
original
one, but
movie?
it was
Yeah.
popping when we were.
Okay, all right. So Mike, after the trailer, were you more into it? Yes or no?
No.
Okay, Mike or Brian?
Yeah.
Yeah. All right, Savon.
Ish.
Yeah.
All right, so that was 2
What
in favor,
are you?
1
Are you
not?
excited? Are you okay, dude? Like, are you excited about anything? Like, do your hobbies not bring you joy anymore? Like, are you sleeping too much? Is your appetite impacted? Are you
He's
okay?
chilling. He's on
man,
break.
lay off the Valium or whatever.
Yeah, honestly.
What the excuse me?
Raya and the Last Dragon
No.
trailer. Mike.
No.
Oh, interesting. Brian.
Yes.
Savon.
Maybe.
Maybe.
I
All
said
right.
no, but I think it started to change into like a kind of
Like an action movie,
Okay.
kind of. All right.
We'll say
Like, I
one.
think if- I
that
think
was
it'll be
like
a-
1
it'll
to
be
1
eye
to eh.
candy.
Okay.
Sorry.
It looked like good
All right. This last one.
I don't think we need to do this. Superman and Lois. Mike.
Such a strong no. Like, no doesn't. I wish there was a stronger word for no.
Brian.
Hell no.
Savon.
Nah.
Why does
It
that show
looked-
exist? Who is
It
going to
looked
watch
bad.
that? Who is
I don't
the show marketed
Maybe
towards?
the
All the
writing
users.
Maybe the writing's gonna be really good and they have something planned up their sleeve. That's all you can hope.
The users of CW app really want content back.
like that base is just unshakable.
Did you guys watch The Flash?
No.
I did.
I haven't seen a single one of those network superhero shows.
I feel like the Flash is really hard to write for because super speed is just such an inherently OP power. It's hard to do writing without him just looking like a dingus.
The thing that holds the Flash together, I don't know what a dingus is, but the thing that holds the Flash series together is the chemistry and camaraderie that the characters on the show have. They just have a good like flow together, and it's enjoyable. It's not, Emmy Award winning stuff, but it's enjoyable.
Respectable.
So, hard takes. It sounded like we were like, everyone seemed pretty much into the Falcon and the Winter Soldier, so I actually don't think we should talk about that much. People are like, yeah, it's going to be good. Let's check it out. We'll probably talk about it on the show later on. So,
sure.
First, we're going to talk about Zack Snyder's Justice League because there is some mixed feelings here, I think, on how this one's going down. So, Mike, what was your feelings on seeing this trailer or like the movie coming out? It's releasing, I think, March 18th, something like that, on HBO Max in a 4:3 format. So it's gonna, or 4:3 format. So it's not
wait, really? That's like square, right?
It's gonna be almost
with black
square.
bars on the side.
It's gonna be like WandaVision
in the beginning.
Yeah.
Oh my god, that's why.
But it's gonna be the whole movie that way.
What is wrong with him? Why does he need to do this stuff? All right, so like just so people understand, and now I'm getting worked.
Do you really want the way he justified it? Or
no,
I
don't.
Rhetorically?
I'm asking. I don't give a what this man has to say. Okay, so Wes had us. There's 5 categories: most surprising, least interesting, most confusing, best use of special effects, and then best music that nobody answered at all. So we had to pick a movie for each category. So I picked most surprising for Justice League. That could solely be that the last second of the trailer, the Joker turns around and says, "We live in a society, blah, blah, blah," which has just like been a giant meme for the Joker and like all the people, like the neckbeards on the internet that like use the Joker as like a hero or whatever. He's just like, "Oh, well, we live in a society, blah, blah, blah." And like that was a huge meme when the actual Joker movie came out. And it's like the nerve of this man to try and like what are you trying to do, dude? He's like, this movie is so dark and brooding, and then he's literally just memeing at like the climax of the trailer. So like I'm gonna hate watch this movie. I said I was gonna do that for the Wonder Woman movie, but that just seemed like it was such mayonnaise, like it wasn't even worth a hate watch. Essentially, and I'm gonna do this really quickly in the name of professionalism. What's gonna happen with this movie is what happened originally is he created a 4-hour cut. This movie's 4 hours, just so people understand. Understand that. They didn't like that. They said, you need to get this down to 2 hours. So he had a 4-hour movie, and the producer said, you need to get this down to 2 hours. So then when he tried to do that, obviously it was completely incomprehensible. It was just like, made no sense. It was like, okay, I can do like a 3-hour cut or something like that. And then he had like a loss in his family or something like that, and he just didn't have it in him to fight with the studio anymore. So he had this really terrible cut because it cut out like more than half of the movie. So then they brought in Joss Whedon, I think, the Avengers guy, to do it. And then they almost entirely refilmed the movie. In the Justice League we saw, there were 30 minutes of the Snyder cut. So this is going to be almost an entirely new movie. And it just looks like this is not the guy that needs to have a 4-hour movie out. So
let it all out.
Yeah,
let it all out, big guy.
This really, yeah, exactly. This just seems like a stream of consciousness. Like let's just, like 4 hours of a Zack Snyder Justice League movie. Like it's gonna.
You really watch stuff you don't like for fun.
He was really like, okay, well, look, the Avengers worked. They had like 4 movies leading up to the Avengers. I'm just gonna put that all in one movie. We'll do all the character building there and actually like have it's.
It's going to be brutal and way too serious.
Yeah,
and takes itself
dark
too
and in a
seriously,
4:3 ratio. Like, where do you get off, man? Like, you know how much HBO Max costs, and like this. Ugh. Anyway,
Savon, what do you think about Justice League now that we're getting a 4-hour cut of it?
Man, be real. The only out of that whole thing of Justice League movies I've seen. And didn't Aquaman come out after Justice League?
Yeah, I think I think Justice League was like first, and then they started doing all the other ones.
Yeah. So like, I didn't care going in. I saw the Superman movie, and the Superman movie was actually pretty. Like, I enjoyed it. It was kind of brooding, but it was an enjoyable movie. I don't give a damn about any of the rest of that stuff. I didn't care about.
No reason to. Why would
I never
you?
cared going into it, so it's hard for you to sell me on more of something that I never consumed in the first place.
They should take the millions that it costs to make this movie and to re-release this movie, Zack Snyder's cut, and just pour it into their animation budget.
Right? Put that into Young Justice season 4.
Yeah. Give us those gems. We don't need the bullshit from Zack Snyder.
And that's really like bullshit, and you're gonna have to keep bleeping us here, Wes. But like, it's just like there's no other way to describe it than just absolute bullshit. It's just
Poppycock.
How is
Why?
like we really live in such a chaotic world where like people can meme the Zack Snyder cut into existence, and then he puts a meme in the trailer, and it's 4 hours. Like that.
Yeah,
it's like
I'm struggling to understand why Zack Snyder has such a loyal fan base.
I don't know. I really don't know. Nobody likes his like who likes his like who's like, oh, I'm a Zack Snyder fan.
I don't know. I'm not sure where that's coming from.
Because it's going to be 4 hours long. Like people meme like the 4-hour Revenge of the Sith cut that they want. It's like, you don't want this. Like it's not going to be good. There's a reason they edit movies.
Ugh.
All right. We don't need to talk about this anymore. Like
I want to talk about Godzilla versus Kong.
Where is Kong's wiener?
Get out, dude.
Why are you wondering that?
But
why
where is it? What
that?
is he?
Look up actual ape.
Maybe he's a she.
Yeah, look up actual ape anatomy and then get a better answer.
I'm pretty sure gorillas have wieners.
You didn't.
Like, I would be mad too.
I know chimps do because I've seen them do some naughty stuff.
Yeah, chimps, bonobos, gorillas. They're all very active. Anyway, it looks cool. I mean, like, look, it looks cool. Like, it's
cool.
It's funny that like these movies have like a consistent, like there actually is like a human storyline that goes from movie to movie, and they're trying to build a universe. I've seen most of these movies. I don't know the storyline of the people. I don't care about the storyline for the people. I don't think I typically finish these movies because like, what does it matter? I'm gonna watch the hell out of this. Are you kidding me?
I haven't seen a Kong or Godzilla movie since Matthew Broderick's Godzilla movie.
Peter
Is that
Jackson.
the one in New York?
That's Peter Jackson. It's Peter Jackson.
Day?
King Kong from 05, I believe. 06.
Yeah.
That was Peter Jackson's?
Yeah, that was with Jack
Black. Yeah, that's what we were talking about on the next episode.
No, he's talking about the
what?
Godzilla movie.
No, Godzilla. I haven't seen a Godzilla movie
Kong,
since Matthew
Savon.
Broderick.
Like, is that the one in New York when like Godzilla bursts out of MSG? Yeah,
and there were some eggs involved.
That show, that movie walked so How to John Wilson could run.
Yeah, I remember that movie. That was a fun movie when I was a kid. That was my favorite movie as a kid.
Please let John Wilson make a Godzilla movie.
Oh my god. It would just be like little characters running over like Legos or something.
Yeah.
Well, my point was that I've never been interested in any of the like recent Godzilla movies or any of the Kong movies. No Skull. What is it? Skull Island.
Skull Island.
Yeah, none of that. Like I didn't care about it. I was just like, it looks bad. But I saw this trailer and I was surprised. I find myself being like, oh, that kind of looks interesting. And then Kong punches out Godzilla, and I was like, oh, all right. I'm kind of in just for that scene.
Who do y'all think will win in a rapid fire format? Yes or no? Or Kong or Godzilla? Who do you think is gonna win?
It's Kong's movie.
I think Godzilla would win.
It's definitely Kong's movie. He set out to be the protagonist, but I think there's going to be a twist at the end.
I think he wins and becomes King Kong, and then gets a wiener as a reward.
Are you done?
No, I mean, like,
why are you obsessed with this? I think this is the real reason why you want to play Cyberpunk.
You know what? Why don't you send an email to the writers and the character designers and get a real answer from them?
Like a really long dissertation on like how like Kong's character development.
What was the design progress for them?
You can't just have like a...
Stop.
Think of all the shots you can have though when he's like climbing up like the Empire State Building and like to someone's perspective in the building. Like
they did that with This Is the End, that Seth Rogen movie.
I've never. And
there was like some huge lava monster at the end that's got a massive dong that's just waving in the wind every time he destroys something.
Oh
it's
God,
awful.
That's right.
You don't want to see that.
All right, so let's not talk about Raya, although I am interested in that. I think, Brian, you had said about a month ago you were interested in
Why
that,
are you interested?
It's going to be dope.
We don't need to do it. Okay.
It's
going to be dope.
I don't know how to... Are you interested in like, oh, this is like showing like Asian culture in a way, or does it look good in its own right?
I think both.
I think it looked good in its own right.
The same studio as Moana, so, I think it would be like a very accessible movie.
Yeah.
Yeah, high quality animation is going to be wonderful. The art design is going to be wonderful. And this is an action movie, unlike Moana and Frozen.
Yeah.
So it looks like they got their whole superhero team for an action movie or whatever. They got some interesting bad guys. There's going to be like a climactic fight scene that looks very cool. And then, but really, what I'm mostly interested in is that this is sort of like a mashup of Southeast Asian folklore and cultures. The sword that Raya is wielding is like this curvy Filipino sword. So that's sort of like a deep cut in itself. And so that's really got my interest peaked. Kind of like what they did with Moana, where it's an amalgamation of Pacific Island culture. This is going to be Southeast Asian culture, but in a folk kind of like superhero-ish giant epic format.
So it's a huge year for like Asian cultures and like mainstream fictional movies. I'm serious though. It's dope.
Shang-Chi
only if you
coming,
listen
guys.
to this show.
Yeah,
Awesome.
confidently wrong. Asian edition.
I'm a little bit concerned that the humorous comedic talking dragon sidekick has already been
Oh
done.
god, that character looks so irritating.
But we'll see. It could be. It
Yeah,
could be
it's
all right.
Aquafina.
Let's. Yeah.
Oh, is that
Awkwafina-
all I knew? Okay,
Yeah.
I feel better about it now. She could play.
Yeah,
that
I think
well.
it'll be all right. Let's move on to WandaVision. We've had episodes 6 and 7. I mentioned this earlier. My friend BK, who you might have heard him interview
Friend
a couple
of the show.
episodes ago, friend of the show, he told me that actually he wasn't planning on watching WandaVision
At all?
But no.
Does he
but
like
had-
Marvel content?
Yeah, definitely. But he was just like, I don't know that I see the point of this. Like, whatever. And then he listened to a couple of our shows talking about it, and now he's like, you know what? I've actually started watching because of the show. So we're doing a public service for Disney. They actually need to pay us now.
Where
We got you
where is our
one-
money? Yeah, where's
One
our...
more viewer got actually two. He and his
y'all.
wife.
We need that referral money.
Yeah, honestly.
Can we send people to Amazon instead?
This is actually an anarcho-communist podcast. Besides our love for Disney products, we don't support Amazon. I said this to Savon yesterday. I think it's hard to not put this show in the conversation of greatest MCU content.
Ooh.
Wow.
I think it's really like on its own plane there. Like it's so good, dude. Tell me why you disagree.
So I'm gonna. This is where my pushback is gonna be, because I don't hard disagree with the sentiment, but it is hard to compare a TV show episodic format to feature length movies.
Yeah, no,
Like straight
that's
up.
fair.
We the same conversation. We talked about how WandaVision would be impossible to do in movie format and do it justice, like straight up.
Yeah, but
So-
all things considered, like I
Keep in mind, I hold it
Given
in high
that-
regard. Like, keep in mind, I'm
given
not-
that, I think it's up there.
Now, this is where my pushback is. I think sometimes comparing movies to shows, you start to get into an apples to oranges conversation. Just because, again, they have different things that they can work with timing and production-wise. That's not always fair to compare. I think that your statement is really going to be tested in the next 5-6 months. Because then we'll have high-quality Marvel content that's actually got, like, series and seasons that'll be out and you could watch beginning to end. And then I think you have something that's a little bit more of an easy comparison. That being said,
I don't think
WandaVision I've enjoyed more than certain movies. Like, keep in mind, like,
Most
WandaVision's
of the
up
movies.
there. Yeah, WandaVision's still up there. I'm not disagreeing with that sentiment. But again, wait until we see the first season of the Falcon Winter Soldier show, till we see
most of their
She-Hulk and
shows
all
are
this other
not
stuff.
going to be seasons, though. Most of their shows are going to be one-offs.
All right, I mean that's cool too. Like even one season, that's fine. WandaVision's gonna be one season, right? Like
Yeah, well, it's going to connect to the movie.
yeah,
It's gonna
but even
connect to
then,
Doctor Strange too.
if they do an 8-10 episode series or mini series, whatever, I think seeing what the others look like will then make it a bit easier to see. Okay, just how good is WandaVision? Because this is a new type of formatting we've gotten.
Are we discounting the Marvel Netflix shows like
I'm not.
Daredevil, Jessica Jones?
No, I am because it's not in the MCU. It is now, but it's like it wasn't made.
It
by-
already was.
Yeah, it already was.
In Daredevil,
technically,
they
yeah,
talk
but
about
it
the Battle of
wasn't.
New
It
York.
wasn't made by Marvel Studios, so it's like not. That's more apples and oranges because it was literally made by a different studio. Savon, what are you doing with your hands right now? You're doing
I'm
like
waving
you're
you
telling me to
all.
get out. Okay.
Yeah, I'm just like no, not rocking with it.
So the two of you, why you're kind of cold on it then? And I thought you would love this, Brian, just from a filmmaking perspective, because
Oh,
it's
no,
doing
no,
that in such a unique way.
I agree with you. No, I think it is some of their best content out there. Because
Facts.
if even in comparison to some of the movies, because to be honest with you, there's quite a few Marvel movies that feel like filler that I don't care about. But the ones that are most memorable to me are ones like Guardians of the Galaxy. and Thor Ragnarok, which really presented this bold new vision and went places that you didn't expect, and that's exactly what WandaVision is doing.
Mm-hmm.
So that in mind, I would agree with Mike's statement. I'm definitely curious as to where this series is going to end up, but there's still that lingering doubt where I'm not entirely sure how they're going to stick the landing.
Well, there isn't going to be. I think that it's going to be interesting. Also, the show is almost over, which is weird. There's only 2 more episodes, but it's like it's going to connect to Doctor Strange 2, and that doesn't come out. Doctor Strange.
3?
No, I think 3 more.
We had
it's
7.
not because Falcon comes out in a month, and then there's 2 more of the episodes, and there's going to be 1 making of episode, and then the first episode of Falcon.
So now there's going to be 9 episodes,
I guess.
Okay.
But
all right, I don't know. I mean, you told us there were 6, and then
I was wrong.
10.
But the show is also named after me, confidently wrong. I do have a penchant for just kind of saying things.
I can't correct you. I never looked it up. I don't know how many.
I feel like we're all on a computer. We could easily access this information.
But
in the name of
fun.
the show, we'll just keep talking as if we know what we're talking about.
We should just rename the show Mike Gaslighting Everybody.
Nerd Gaslighting with Mike.
MGE.
What was I going to say? I totally forgot.
That we're sticking the ending, but we're not going to stick.
Oh yeah, well, Doctor Strange only comes out in 2022, March 2022. So it's like there's gonna be a cliffhanger with Doctor Strange, I'm sure, and then we're not gonna really get that. And then so it's like, are people gonna be frustrated with that? Like, you're gonna leave this one storyline like kind of open, and then we're gonna go into a new show. I don't even agree it has a slow start. Like the first couple episodes, like you don't know what's going on, but like they're so short. And then they immediately start explaining all that stuff. And now it's moving forward at like a breakneck pace, I feel like.
Now it feels like the 30-minute length is a real detriment to the show.
Yeah.
Whereas at first I was so glad they were short and digestible. And now all these, with the plot really developing, they feel like, it feels like I'm watching episodes of Quibi or something. And that I've never seen a Quibi show, but they feel like too bite-sized for what's going on in their universe.
It's the end is always jarring, especially this week with the big Agatha reveal. Like it ended, and I was like, "Wow, that's crazy." I just think like this show is ambitious outside of its own story. Like the way they're presenting this is far crazier than it really needed to be at all. So it's cool that like they clearly got to a point. Like the reason these movies are so good and are a Disney property is because they just let Kevin Feige do his thing. And it's like, you take the creative direction and it's going to make $1 billion. And this is more ambitious than any of the movies they've done before. So it's, for me, like, I think that warrants putting it up there, because even if like the Captain and the Winter Soldier is a great movie, like this is just so far beyond anything Marvel's done before. And I think you have to give it points for that.
Those movies paved the way, though, so you got to give points for that too. We talked about this. WandaVision doesn't happen without the success of the MCU movies before.
Yeah, well,
ambitious and unambitious. Like the only reason we're watching this is because we trust the brand, and that's because of what they did with the previous movies. It likely would have fallen flat.
My question is, do you think the big thing with The Mandalorian is people could enjoy that having never seen a Star Wars movie? Can you enjoy this having never seen a Marvel movie? I think less so than The Mandalorian, which I think is an important thing for the context of these shows moving forward.
Interesting.
I agree.
Let's talk about like specific things from the past couple of episodes. So we're getting a little bit more, obviously, a peek behind the curtain in each episode. Wanda in episode 6 expands the Hex force field area to incorporate more to kind of save Vision. I think it's kind of what it's implying. So he can't survive in the rules made up in this show. He can't survive outside of the Hex, for whatever reason. And then as we get into, episode 7, we start to see like Monica Rambeau is starting to get her powers now. And so we'll see how that turns out. And then Darcy and Vision are now kind of teamed up together. They're going to be a little duo, which I'm excited for that team up. I think that contrast that they're going to have is going to be kind of fun. Mike is not a Kat Dennings believer, so he's not excited about it.
So irritating, bro.
But I do think there's possibilities there because of their contrast, right? He's going to have powers, she does not, but she has a knowledge from outside the world and from before that he does not. And so there's going to be a lot of like cool things they can play off there, I think. And then obviously the big reveal, Mike already said, was Agnes turns out to be the comic book character and witch, Agatha Harkness. and it's revealed that she is somehow behind the scenes on this whole thing. And I wanted your guys' clarification. I'm not clear how much she's in control of what's happening here and how much Wanda's in control of what's happening here. Do you guys have a sense of that?
No.
My understanding is that this is still clearly, and I think from the outside perspective as well, they've established pretty hard that like this is Wanda. We've watched Wanda walk in and out of places. We see, especially with Agatha, right? We see that they have unique color signatures to their powers. So I think that's obviously intentional. The red is clearly meant to be, hey, this is Wanda's doing. Now they've established that she doesn't know everything that's happening. And so now they're, you know, to your point, revealing that it's Agatha. But I think they've made it pretty clear that Wanda is still primarily in control of everything that's happening. But maybe some of the odd mystery things aren't so much her. I think there's an element of her losing control because I think
there's been like tones where she's like, I don't know how I kind of got here.
So there's a mix of like, I think it's a good mix of she's still in control. Some of the things going funky are her own doing, but now we know a lot of the things funky aren't her doing too. So now is it I'm here to sabotage you? Is it now the motives are really what's going to kind of determine how much Wanda is or isn't in control. But I firmly believe this is still her creation, her thing.
So there are two things that I noticed that are like inconsistent that I wonder if they're important or if it was just an inconsistency. So one is Darcy, when she gets woken up by Vision, doesn't have the same reaction as everybody else, right? So she doesn't go through the like, there's pain and I'm in misery and whatever, right? So she doesn't have that happen to her like every other character who's woken up so far.
But that makes sense. She wasn't in the thing for a long period of time.
Okay, so do you think that's part of what it is?
Yeah, she just got in there.
And she did say it was unpleasant. Like, she did kind of make a comment about, that sucked. Mm-hmm. Like, so it wasn't like she was completely helpless. Or it wasn't like she was completely unaffected. She definitely made it clear, hey, this was an uncomfortable experience.
Yeah, but she just doesn't go crazy the same way everybody else
I think
did.
That's just a product of she hadn't been in there very long.
Yeah.
Okay, all right. So I was just wondering if that's like a clue, right? Like maybe there's something going on there. And then the second one was Vision wakes up Agatha when she's stuck at that stop sign at the edge of town.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. She was just acting there.
Yeah.
Yeah, but in the part they reveal that she's like acting.
Yeah, I think she pretended to be woken up.
So like my problem with that is, right, like they didn't, and I went back and rewatched episode 6 after seeing 7, and they don't really play it that way at all, right? Like she still gets the like golden little like flare that happens when he wakes her up. She does the screaming thing. She does like a really dazed impression of being there. And I guess you could act that part, but like if she's in control, what is she doing out in the middle of nowhere, stuck at a stop sign, like every other character that's on the edges of town that don't have any movement?
Waiting for Vision.
Yeah, maybe. Can I take a swing at this?
Yeah, but like, is she, right? Like, I mean, she has no way of knowing that Vision's gonna fly to that exact spot, to that exact car. There's like a bunch of cars all the way. He could have gone to any of those cars.
So I'll take a swing at this one. So the swing I'll take at this one is that they actually did have a bunch of subtle hints even before then that Agnes was a little bit different than other people there.
Yes.
That. So that's something that already was hinted at. When she was at the edge of the town barrier, she wasn't acting off the same way everybody else was acting off. I need to rewatch the scene to see exactly how, but the way she was conversing, the way she was like reacting to being close, it wasn't the same. And I watched that and was like, that is a little weird. But if you're worried about like how does she just have this information, it's clear that she's a witch and that she clearly just has powers that give her information that other people don't have. But I'm going to rewatch the scene. There is something she does that's a little bit not quite funky the way everyone else is acting up. And I think that was intentional to kind of show that she's not the same. Plus the son saying, hey, I don't hear things on you on the inside, is them kind of confirming that this is all fishy. I'm going to rewatch that scene, though.
Yeah. I get the sense that it's fishy. It seems a little bit odd to like now imply that Agatha is partially in control or she's manipulating things. But then in episode 6, she was clearly, and I went back and rewatched it, it doesn't really feel like there's any giveaways in that scene, like that she is sort of semi-aware or different. Nothing in what she says.
I thought they did that whole song to walk through all the time she's been aware and doing things and pulling things behind the scenes.
It doesn't make sense to me that she was just chilling on the outskirts of the town, waiting for this happenstance meeting with Vision to like throw him off the scent. Like, if she was really in control and trying to manipulate things, she would not be on the outskirts of town. There's nothing out there for her to manipulate.
But we don't exactly know what her abilities are. She's not necessarily just waiting for Vision to show up at the exact point where she is in the hex. It's very possible that she followed him there, right? There's a lot of things that we don't know. And I think the perspective of what's been going on through these first 7 episodes has been through the WandaVision perspective, right?
Mm-hmm.
Us as viewers basically watching the same stuff that Darcy's watching through the TV.
In episode 7, they said it's not. In episode 7, they said it's not broadcasting anymore, though. So that part's interesting.
Oh,
right?
they did? I didn't even notice that.
Yeah, we're able to watch the show, but the sword people are not able to watch the show.
Well, regardless, right? It's still being presented or broadcast in this way or whatever. And then the whole turn at the end of episode 7 is that we're suddenly watching a different show, which is the Agatha show. And so that's a completely different perspective that we don't yet have enough information on, how much she is in control of her situation.
The last thing, and we'll wrap up here, and just so people like understand the greater context of Marvel shows now, for the literal like indefinite future, there is new Marvel stuff every week because they're doing the shows, and then when the show ends, they do a making of that comes out, and then the next week is a new show. So it's this making of Falcon the Winter Soldier, making of What If, and then even if it's not a making of, it's a feature length movie. So it's just like we're just in the slog now. We're just in the mouse.
MCU Ivy.
Yeah.
Hey man, they know how to rope you in and keep you hooked. That's awesome. All right. Well, I don't know where the hell we're headed. I'm super confused about where this is going. I love all the things that they've revealed so far, and would definitely I want to see where they take this and how Vision and Wanda come together, and whether that ends up being antagonistic or whether that ends up being a little bit more of a team up. And obviously, where does Agatha take this, and is she being controlled by someone else? If you guys have listened to the interview with Miles, he's thinking that there's still someone maybe else behind the scenes as well, maybe like a Mephisto character or something like that. It doesn't seem like at this point that's where they can go, given that there's only, Mike said, maybe 2 episodes left, but that would be an interesting reveal as well, and that would lead us into a bigger movie like Doctor Strange.
I think they're going the Mephisto direction.
You think they're going that way too?
Yeah, Mephisto has a lot of stuff with stealing souls. He has a lot of stuff that involves deals with the devil, stealing souls, that type of thing, and he has interactions with Wanda and her children. They have plot lines as well as Doctor Strange. There's no one else. I talked to Mike about this. There's no one else in the MCU who really is versed in ultra dimensional magical stuff. So if you have that door opened up naturally, Doctor Strange is the only person I think who fits that bill.
Okay. All right. Well, friends, we'll have another episode, coming up at some point, and we'll hope you'll keep it here with us at Confidently Wrong, where Mike continues to be wrong and we celebrate him for it.
He just dabbed. Why did he?
Oh,
did he time travel here?
Hit us up on our socials on Instagram and Twitter at confidently_pod. Leave us some reviews. Leave us a comment. How you feeling about WandaVision? How are you feeling about any of these trailers that we've talked about here? It's gonna be exciting next couple of weeks, guys. I'm really looking forward to it. All right, friends, we're out. Have a good day.
Ouch.
meow.